Greetings, YouTube. Every once in a while I'll get a poster asking me what I do for a living. What's my job? So I thought that I'd take a moment and tell you what I do for a living. I work in a factory. Last night the job I worked required running 2 presses. These are large German presses. They're called Engels. And each is a 160-ton press. That means that they can produce 160 tons of pressure. Not that they weigh 160 tons. They weigh a lot, but not that much. And when I run them, it's to produce all rubber parts in this particular job. Each mold has 2 cavities. Each mold is heated to approximately 400 degrees. The machines use an infrared light screen as a safety feature, so while the mold's running, the infrared light screen is in the on position, and if you break the light screen, the machine stops. It also has an alarm that when the cycle's over and it's ready for us to take the parts out, it sounds, you walk through the light screen, the alarm turns off, and and you pull your parts out. So I'm going to give you an exact description of what I do, and I hope that you aren't too bored, because frankly, it isn't all that exciting for us either. The alarm goes off. I step forward. I pick up an air gun in my right hand as I do so. I remove the sprue or the stem that the machine has produced between the 2 parts, and I put it into a tray. I use my air gun to loosen the 2 parts. I grab the 2 parts. I pull them directly up with my left hand. I take a step backwards. I hit the go button so the machine now knows it's time to close. I hang up my air gun. I walk over to a cooling rack which is on my table, and there's a fan pointing at the cooling rack. I hang up my 2 parts on the cooling rack. By the time that happens, my second press is opening. Alarm goes off. I step forward, grabbing an air gun while I do so. Remove the stem, put it in the tray, loosen the 2 parts with the air gun, remove the 2 parts directly up, step back, hit the go button, hang up the air gun. I hang up the 2 parts with the other 2 I had just put there. I rotate the cooling rack, which now has parts on it which have been cooling for 2 additional cycles. There are 3 hangers on the rack. I remove the 4 parts, I lay them on my table. I remove my right glove, I throw it on the table. Each part has a small rubber tab which has to be removed. I remove all 4 tabs, I throw them into the garbage. I take the parts, orient them all in the same direction, stacking them on top of each other. I am looking for flash at that moment. I then take the parts, line them up in my hand, put pressure this way with my other hand. I look at them this way under an inspection light. I rotate them, look at the other way with the inspection light. If they are kosher, which they normally are, these molds run fairly well. I then put them on the table on a stack. When I have 24 pieces, 6 cycles, I then put them into a tray. Each tray holds 10 bundles of 24, 240 pieces. I then take the tray and put it into a mobile rack. When the rack is full, the rack holds anywhere between 15 to 18 trays. It gets wheeled into an oven where it is heated for 4 hours at 350 degrees to continue the curing process. Now all of this is done in the 40 seconds the machines run. So each press has a 40-second run time. At the end of the cycle, if I'm lucky, I have 3 to 5 seconds where I'm not doing anything but related with the parts. And in those 3 to 5 seconds, I do things like my paperwork. I make sure that the rubber rolls that feed the machines with a belt of rubber are correct. If they need to be changed, I can work on changing them. If I can't change them all at one time in that 3 to 5 seconds. I do things, like moving trays and things like that. So that's my shift. And if things work well, I do that about 360 times a day. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, over and over again. And yes, before anyone asks, at 48, repetitive motion does become kind of an issue. You do get sore by the end of the shift. Your arms are sore, your back is sore. There isn't anything I can really do about that. That's just the nature of the job I have. It's what happens when you work in an industry where you are essentially an organic robot. They would replace us with robots if they could, folks, but we are the cheapest things they can currently get. I'm not looking forward to the day when they can get actual robots that will do my job, because then I will be on the streets. But this is the reason that I have time to think about videos, because this job does not overly tax my thinking process. As long as I'm paying attention to what I'm doing, what I think about really doesn't matter. And I'm really good at living inside my head. Some folks aren't. I work with people who constantly battle with boredom. I don't get bored. I'm really good at entertaining myself. I think about things all the time. The nonfiction books I'm reading, the role-playing books I'm reading, the videos I'm going to do, the current issues that I'm tackling in therapy. I do a lot of thinking when I'm at work. It's one of the reasons that I have had so much success in my therapy sessions, I think, because I have the time to do that. I am not engaged in activities that require attention on a full level. Like my wife works in customer support. She manages a customer support team. That requires a whole lot of thought. You have to engage with people all day long. I don't have to do that. In fact, I very rarely talk to people when I'm at work because I'm working. And you're running 2 presses with 40-second cycles. It's a fast day. You don't have a lot of time to, shoot the bull. Especially if you're going to hit your target numbers. And yes, we have target numbers. You have to meet or exceed those target numbers or people are going to get unhappy. You can hit with the 90% mark and no one's going to complain. But if you get under the 90% mark consistently, there's going to be problems. So you have to go boom, 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 boom all day long. So I hope that this helps explain to people what I do for a living. But as far as the title goes, no. The environment I work in is not enriching.